Hello there, welcome to Quackalope. Thank you for being here. I feel like it's been a little while. To be precise, about 2.5 months, almost 3 months. And how do I know that? Well, because we are very close to having a 3-month-old son, and it is wonderful and amazing, and also life is completely upside down. Things are chaotic, and I am behind on almost every single thing I would like to do, including the nursery. I still don't even have that fully painted and set up. So we are behind in every aspect of life. The last 2.5 months have transitioned in maybe the worst sequence or the most interesting sequence of time I've ever experienced, right? It feels like it's been forever. Like we've always had a child. Like nothing has ever existed before and nothing will ever exist after every single individual moment that we have with our precious little boy. And yet, at the same time, life is going by so incredibly fast. I mean, the last video I did on this channel was 10 days ago, and I thought I was that week ready to get back up and running and go at this full force again, right? Daily video content, diving headfirst into more board games, into prototypes, catching up on emails, finally, because I'm so very far behind on them. And yet, in a blink of an eye, about a week and a half has disappeared. So, with that being said, and all of that being acknowledged, welcome to Quackalope. I want to have a very quick conversation with you and ask you, the audience, a few questions, primarily focused around what this channel looks like. Where are we going from here? What does the next season, the next journey for myself, for this channel, for the future of board gaming and my life and space within it, what does it look like? What's the wider conversation, the wider experiential journey we want to go on? So I'm going to talk to you about a few things that are on my mind, a few things that I'm interested and engaged with, and I want to ask you all a very important question. What do you enjoy? What made you subscribe to this channel? Why are you still here? Why are you clicking on a video that's a channel update? Why are you interested in whatever it is that's going on behind the scenes and in front of the camera? What are you here for? Is it fun gameplay videos with a bunch of friends? Should we start refocusing on bringing in guests and having other channels collaborate with us and getting other content creators and fans and other people here to sit down and play at the table together? Is it in-depth reviews and previews that dive headfirst into conversation around board games? Is it wider industry news about, well, Kickstarters that are happening, or pledge managers that are closing soon, or Black Friday deals that you should or shouldn't buy? Is it a game specifically? Are you here for Root content or Leader Games content alone? Are you here for Kingdom Death, and that's really the only reason you hit the subscribe button down below? Or are you here for the more human side of the conversation? These one-offs, these conversations, the news that I've become a dad and what that looks like as my journey in this hobby combines with other aspects and elements of my life. Are you here for the vlogs and for the relationship and the journey that I've taken with friends and family, meeting and coming in contact with my wife? Have you been following the story all along and honestly you just want to continue seeing where it goes? I want to know. I want to know who you are, what your favorite games are, and why you're here on this channel. If you could script what the next season, what the next journey for Quackalope looks like, what does that look like for you? What advice would you give me if we were sitting down across from each other at a table, having a little bit of whiskey, and talking about life, talking about how weird, strange, and odd it is, and trying to figure out what exactly it is we're going to do about it? So pour yourself a shot and let me monologue my side of the conversation while you work on and type up your comment down below. By the way, I'm currently drinking Distiller's Cash, the rare find limited release single barrel whiskey, and this is coming out of, I believe it's coming out of Ugly Dog Distilleries in Kentucky. So, L'chaim, to life, Baruch et Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehachol ne'eh bidvaro. Okay, let's have a conversation. Oh, another note about how time has transferred strangely. My boy has changed so much. we went from the adorable newborn phase to like being able to like manage the head stuff to laughing, which was the best feeling in the entire world, to now last night he literally slept about 7 hours, giving my wonderful wife Shira an opportunity to catch up on a little bit of sleep herself. And man, he's doing well, and we are so infinitely and incredibly blessed. All right, conversation about the channel. Where has the channel been? Why does the channel exist? Where would the channel like to go if I was able to dictate my own future for it? And it's a hard conversation for me too, because the last year and a half I've been figuring out those very questions. The channel at one point was directing itself towards having an entire crew, an entire team of people helping me run the show. Shira, was going to be working with me. We had West full time. We had an editor who was named Evan Monsma. He has an amazing YouTube channel that's about to pass ours in his subscribers, by the way, doing creator, crafty type projects, very Van Neistat-esque, if you know that reference. So look up Evan Monsma. He's remarkable. But the shift away from having employees, from having a crew, from having a budget that allowed us to fly in publishers and creators and collaborate with as many people as possible, that shift has meant a pretty substantial transition and transformation for me. I have to decide where to put my energy and where to put my focus, and I have to decide exactly how much energy and time I have to expend, and what type of content I think will perform the best, what I think the audience is going to enjoy the most, what I will enjoy making the most, because if I don't enjoy creating it, it's not going to make it to the cutting room floor. And then editing is a whole nother conversation beyond that. It is hard right now to sit down in front of the computer for 6, 7, 8 hours and dive headfirst into a video project. And so the stuff I make, I need it for my own sake to be good quality, to be compelling, to be interesting, to be worth producing, to be fun, to create. But outside of that, it also can't be too grandiose, right? The Kingdom Death gameplay videos, the Crimson Scale gameplay videos, we've got 10 of those recorded. And they're excellent. But the production quality on them has made them a real barrier for me to be able to produce. And it doesn't help anyone if I can't produce something to actually publish. If we just film a ton of content and I have a great time doing it, that's good for me, but not good for any of you all. So, where would the channel go if I were to set the course? Which, in reality, I am setting the course, but this is still such an active, mobile conversation. It's a malleable future for what this looks like and what it looks like for me. What do I enjoy making the most? I mean, that's the first content, right? That's the first big question that has to be established. And the reality is, around board gaming content, I love two big things. One, I love collaborating with people. I love sitting around and playing games and having fun with friends. It's one of the best feelings ever. I like grabbing some drinks and just playing some board games. It's why we're all in this hobby to begin with. So I think I need to get this studio space up and running so that I can host people here, so they're not in our personal dwelling, and so that I can start inviting and scheduling people to come back into the Cleveland area, into the studio with us, and we can focus on filming. And during times when I may not be as available as I used to be, because sometimes I'd spend 15 hours straight filming with West, and at the moment my life means, then, the other things that exist in my life mean that I don't always have 15 hours straight to have guests here at the studio. I should probably focus on creating a space that allows other content creators to utilize the equipment, the gear, the technology that I have, so that they can, when they come and hang out, produce content for their own channels here as well. So we can use it as a multi-use space, which means the backgrounds that have lots of yellow and Quackalope theming and everything like that, I should have a set or a studio space that doesn't need to be specifically Quackalope styled, which is something worth thinking about. So those are some future developments when it comes to the space that we're working with. The second thing I really love creating when it comes to the board game space is the conversations around board games, the wider context, right? The Right For You, Wrong For You series has been one of the videos that I've enjoyed making the most, or the 10 Rules You Might Miss. I like making stuff that helps people get games from the shelf onto the table. Now, those videos are very hard to produce. There's a lot of research and time and energy and focus that has to go into creating those videos, but I think those are the two big categories for me when it comes to a board game-centric conversation that I enjoy. I like the non-overly opinionated, but still detailed and thorough reviews. And I like the gameplays. I like hanging out with people. I like talking with friends. I like making jokes and cracking, and cracking at each other back and forth constantly. Now, outside of board games is a much wider conversation, and this is the interesting thing, because I've never been one who has been able to keep what's happening in my life away from what's happening on the channel. Like, I'm not able to have something tragic or horrible or dramatic or emotionally wrought. I'm not able to have that happen behind the scenes. It's going to affect who I am. It's going to affect how I appear and how I present myself in front of the audience, which is a hard thing because, one, you get criticized for that a lot. Two, it results in moments where you're crying on camera and talking with people, and you open yourself up for people to criticize you and people to call you names and people to find your weak points and exploit them. And on top of that, I think it's the only way that you can really make content. You have to be as genuine and honest as possible. And I'm not an actor. I am me. This is how I talk. If you were to meet me in person, this is the way that we would engage with each other. If we were having a specific conversation, if we were in a debate, if we were in a discussion, if I was presenting something to you. Granted, I probably talk a little bit differently if my feet are kicked back and I've got a giant apple pie sitting in front of me. But that's not what this is. I have no one responding to me here. And so I have to keep that in mind. So, what elements of my non-board game life are going to bleed into this channel? And I know there's a lot of people out there that say, don't bring your personal life into the board game space. We don't care about it. We don't care about the channel. I don't think this channel is right for those people. I'm going to be honest about that. We've never been that type of channel. I know channels out there. I know channels out there who have what I would surmount as horrifically tragic things happening in their life, whether it's a business venture that's going wrong, whether it's financial issues that are hidden behind the scenes and they've overextended themselves like a lot of publishers we've seen have done over the last few years, whether it's relationships falling apart and, children misbehaving, whatever it is. I know people that can switch cues and put on a different face when they sit down in front of the camera. That's not what this is. And if you don't want me talking about things like ADHD, like mental health, like depression, like the type of whiskey I like the books that I'm reading, like my son, who is the most remarkable, incredible, wonderful thing to exist in my life outside of my marriage, then I don't know what to offer you. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to hand in your direction. So what are the things in my life that I'm currently evaluating, that I'm currently figuring out, that would be able to have a platform here for any of you that are considering asking for more humanity on this channel? Well, let's see here. One, I have a brand new son. We've been over that a few times, and I'm learning a lot about childhood development, about the neuroscience behind brain development, the neurology that goes into each month and each year of my child's life, and how we might be able to facilitate that as much as possible. And so I'm thinking about looking at games that actually provide a foundation for neurodevelopment that might be worthwhile and might be interesting to explore. Along with that, there's a number of games that probably can't exist in my studio by the time my son's old enough to run around and open boxes himself, whether it's blood, gore, sexuality. And I have to take a hard look at what games actually need to leave the collection, or what games need to go into a high shelf, and what games need to go into permanent long-term storage. We are talking about the lovely Kingdom Death there. High up on the list. A big part of this conversation. If you want to help me create a child-friendly version of Kingdom Death Monster, let me know. Not licensed, not for sale, not commercial, but man, just get rid of all the images and rewrite a little bit of the text, and I can play my favorite game of all time without having to worry about myself or my child coming across some of the more brutal moments. Along with that, I'm analyzing the aspects of both ADHD and dyslexia, which are some new discoveries when it comes to my own psychological makeup, my own framework for life. And those conversations could also have wide-ranging applications for the board game channel, whether I'm talking about them specifically in their own context or bringing them into the board game space, talking about how you might be able to build a gaming group, or how you address and deal with someone who has something like ADHD when it comes to learning and playing and experiencing a game, how they might be able to facilitate a good game experience for everyone else and how you might be able to facilitate a good game experience for them. Dyslexia is a funny one because it's one of the reasons why I don't enjoy Brass Birmingham, and we just discovered that recently. The last time I sat down to play it, I realized that I needed to sit directly in front of the board so that I could remember what cards had what names on them, because the cards don't indicate where they are on the map very accurately. And so if I'm on the edge or around the side of the board, I don't have any visual cues to allow me to place them into the regions, and so I find that I constantly am double checking or just not really paying attention to the cards that I have to utilize, which is part of the core strategy of a heavy Euro like that. So there's lots of interesting conversations there. Going into the more nerd side of things, I'm not playing a lot of video games right now, but I am reading some fantastic books like The Eye of the World by Robert Jordan, like Brandon Sanderson's Cosmere Universe, the Stormlight Archives, and I would love to have those wide-reaching conversations as well. So there's a lot of room. There's a big breadth to talk about there. I, of course, went through a full 2-year process to officially be a Orthodox Jewish man. And so there's a wide conversation there when it comes to spirituality, when it comes to how we're trying to grow and develop and live our lives, how we're trying to build out and understand our own psychology, our own morality, what it means to be a good person, to have a good, and support a good family, to be a good community member, to be a good friend. Those are all wide-reaching conversations we can have and bring into the conversation. 2, we're a couple who games. I've got a wife who loves playing board games, and we're figuring out as a new family exactly how we might be able to facilitate gaming both between each other and with other people. The answer so far is we have not found a good solution, but we've also been traveling a lot. We're on the road. So if you like us stopping by board game stores and covering the board game space from a more human side, whether it's vlogs at conventions or on-the-ground conversations with publishers at their own studios or their own warehouses, that's something that could come back into the circle of things as well. I'm still working on my own physical and mental health too, so exercise, trying to get my sleep routine a little bit more regulated, trying to eat a little bit healthier. I've lost about 20 pounds, but over the last 2 months I've started gaining a decent bit of that back, and so I'm now reframing and refocusing and doing my best to continue that journey towards being as healthy and whole as possible. So there's a lot of conversations there. There's a lot of things that extend beyond the board game space that still by nature tie into this hobby and tie into my experience with it. So out of those, or out of other things that you know about me, what else would you like to explore? What would you like to hear about? What wouldn't you like to hear about? Is ADHD completely off limits, or you have no interest in hearing another father talk about their kid? You're actually here to escape from your own children, which is reasonable. I totally understand. I don't understand it all, but I will when he's like 4. I'm pretty sure I'll understand then. But by then, hopefully, God willing, we'll have another nugget, and so I'll still have a cute little thing to pinch cheeks and carry around while they slowly wait to burp. The burp collector has arrived. With all that being said, let's talk about the games that are on my radar. And honestly, it's still the same list that I put out a while ago. I mean, that's the big thing that isn't shifting from my main trajectory. Of course, we're going to have Kickstarter coverage, and we're going to have crowdfunding projects, and we're going to try our best to secure and have some degree of funding for this board game channel, because I can't do any of this for free. I just don't. There's no window of time that would allow that to be a possibility, and so we will create as much content as we can. We will support the community as much as we can, and hopefully, 1 out of every 10 videos or so will be a contract that allows us to actually do the other 9 videos and continue creating and producing content here in the studio. So the board games that I'm the most compelled by, the board games that I want to engage with the most, I still have on that list Root, Kingdom Death Monster, Catharsis, Slay the Spire. I still have some games that maybe aren't on there, are like Too Many Bones. I'd love to dive back into there with tons of different unique factions. Terraforming Mars has been the game we've played the most over the last little season of life. Some really great, small box games, some really great mini games. Like we have Buttons and Bugs from Gloomhaven. We have all the Button Shy series, which I've enjoyed diving into. Probably the only game we actually played in the hospital during labor was around Circle of Wagons. We lost like 7 times, I think. I think that's the game we played. No, it wasn't Circle of Wagons. It was the Stralopolis. The point scoring. We lost so bad. I'm both bad at board games, and my wife was, currently contracting. So I guess it makes sense while our key player was not involved, is what I'm saying. She didn't have her head in the game, and so it resulted in repeated failed attempts at victory. The nurses thought we were ridiculous, though, by the way. The nurses thought we were very, very funny. I thought we would be able to put out a fun little top 10 list of the 10 games we played while at the hospital. We played one. We played it like 5 times. We lost every game, and then we determined that this was not a board game day, and we transitioned into, well, me doing squats and her figuring out exactly what was happening with her body as our son was tearing himself from her loins. Maybe that's too explicit. I don't know. I've had, like you, hopefully at this point, a little bit to drink. Okay. That's the video. That's the conversation. Really, it's just an opportunity to say, hi, we're coming back. We're getting back up and running. Will I have a video every day this week? I hope so. That's the intention. That's what we're aiming at. Can I guarantee it? No. But we're going to lower the production quality as far down as necessary so that we can continue and get back to regular, consistent, scheduled posting. And then I think we need to scale the production quality back up, but do so gradually. I've been trying for the last year and a half to manage and maintain a channel that was barely operational and barely running with 4 people behind the scenes, let alone just 1. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting us over the years. And I'm looking forward to this next season. We're not going anywhere. We just might take a hiatus when, life demands. Whatever the case, though, whatever you do, remember to do the important thing. Go get married and make a baby. It's pretty good part of life. Pretty remarkable. I didn't expect it. To be honest, it wasn't. It's nothing like I thought it would be. And yet, everything at the same time. We'll see you later. Bye.